Hello, and a very warm welcome. I am so genuinely glad that you have chosen to spend this time with me today. We are about to embark on a journey together. A journey to challenge, to question, and ultimately, to dismantle some of the most pervasive and damaging stories we are told about growing older. I want you to think for a moment about the images and messages about aging that you see in the world around you. In movies, on television, in advertising, and even in casual conversation, there is often a narrative that is presented to us. It is a narrative of decline, of loss, of fading away. It is a story that equates getting older with becoming weaker, slower, more forgetful, more isolated, and less relevant. It is a story that can instill a deep sense of fear and anxiety about our own futures. This narrative is so powerful and so prevalent that it can feel like the absolute truth. It can become the lens through which we view our own experiences, causing us to interpret a moment of forgetfulness as the beginning of the end, or a new ache as an undeniable sign that our best days are behind us. We can begin to believe that our world is destined to shrink, that our potential has a firm expiration date, and that our primary role is to gracefully recede into the background. Today, we are going to take that narrative and we are going to hold it up to the light. We are going to examine it with curiosity, with compassion, and with the power of scientific truth. We are going to expose it for what it truly is, a collection of myths. These myths are like shadows. They can appear large and intimidating, but when you shine a bright light on them, you discover there is very little substance there at all. Our purpose today is to shine that light. We will identify 5 of the most common and destructive myths about aging, and we will bust them, one by one, replacing them with a new narrative. A narrative that is based not on fear, but on facts. A narrative that is not about decline, but about adaptation, resilience, and the potential for continued growth. This is not a conversation about anti-aging, or pretending that the years are not passing. It is a conversation about embracing the reality of aging with empowerment, with wisdom, and with a profound sense of optimism about the rich and meaningful life that is still ours to live. Before we begin, I want to gently remind you that our discussion today is for educational and inspirational purposes. It is a way to reframe our thinking and to empower ourselves. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Your own health journey is unique, and you should always consult with your trusted doctor regarding your personal health and well-being. Today, our goal is to arm you with knowledge and a new perspective, so that you can become the most powerful and informed advocate for your own vibrant future. So let us begin the important work of separating fact from fiction, and uncovering the surprising, and ultimately liberating, truth about what it means to grow older. Our first, and perhaps most foundational myth, is the one that says, to be old is to be frail and sick. This is the myth that paints a picture of later life as an inevitable, progressive slide into physical weakness and chronic disease. It is the belief that stiff joints, weak muscles, poor balance, and a host of ailments are not just possibilities, but certainties. It is a myth that can lead to a sense of resignation, a feeling that there is nothing we can do, so why even try? This is, without a doubt, one of the most disempowering stories we can tell ourselves. And while it contains a kernel of truth, our bodies do change with age, the conclusion it draws is fundamentally wrong. Frailty is not a synonym for aging. Let's start by acknowledging the truth. As we age, our bodies do undergo changes. We tend to lose muscle mass in a process called sarcopenia. Our bone density can decrease, a condition known as osteopenia, which can progress to osteoporosis. Our joints may have some wear and tear from a lifetime of use. These are biological realities. But here is the surprising and liberating truth that busts this myth wide open. The extent and the speed of this physical decline are not predetermined. They are profoundly influenced by our lifestyle choices, most notably, our level of physical activity and our nutrition. The guiding principle is breathtakingly simple. Use it or lose it. Our bodies are magnificent adaptation machines. They respond to the demands we place upon them. If we demand little, they will give us little. If we continue to demand strength, flexibility, and endurance, they will continue to respond at any age. Let's talk about the antidote to muscle loss. It is not some miracle drug. It is resistance training. This doesn't mean you have to become a bodybuilder. Resistance training simply means challenging your muscles to work against a force. This can be done with light weights, with elastic resistance bands, with water in a pool, or even with the weight of your own body. Every time you stand up from a chair without using your hands, you are doing a bodyweight squat. Every time you push a door open, you are using your chest and shoulder muscles. Intentional resistance training, even just 2 or 3 times a week, sends a powerful signal to your body to not only preserve the muscle you have, but to build new muscle tissue. Studies have shown that men and women in their 90s can build significant muscle mass and strength through a simple, supervised resistance training program. This is not about vanity, it is about functionality. Stronger muscles mean better balance and a dramatically reduced risk of falling. It means the strength to carry your own groceries, to lift a grandchild, to get up off the floor with ease. It is the very foundation of physical independence. Now let's talk about our bones. They too respond to demand. Weight-bearing exercise is the signal our bones need to stay strong and dense. This includes any activity where your feet and legs are supporting your own body weight. Walking is a fantastic weight-bearing exercise. So is dancing, gardening, or climbing stairs. When your bones are subjected to these gentle stresses, it stimulates the cells responsible for building new bone tissue. Think of it as making regular deposits into your bone density bank account. And as we know, this must be paired with adequate nutrition, specifically getting enough calcium, preferably from food, and its essential partner, vitamin D, to ensure that calcium is absorbed. Frailty is not a chronological sentence. It is a condition, and a largely preventable one at that. By embracing regular movement and nourishing our bodies properly, we can actively choose a path of strength and vitality, proving every day that age is no barrier to being robust, capable, and full of life. Our second myth is one that can cause an even deeper level of fear and anxiety than physical decline. It is the pervasive and terrifying belief that significant cognitive decline is an inevitable part of aging. This is the myth that whispers that our minds are destined to fail us. It turns every forgotten name, every misplaced key, into a frightening omen of a future filled with confusion and memory loss. It is the myth that equates aging with the inexorable march towards dementia. This belief can be so paralyzing that it can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, causing us to disengage from mentally challenging activities out of fear of failing. The damage of this myth is immense, but the truth is a beacon of incredible hope. While certain aspects of our cognition might change, a steep and debilitating decline is not a normal part of aging. Let's again start with the kernel of truth. As we get older, some of our cognitive processes might slow down a bit. Our processing speed, the time it takes to absorb information and react, might not be what it was when we were 20. Our ability to multitask effortlessly might diminish. We might have to work a little harder to recall a name or a specific word. These are normal, age-related changes, much like the changes in our physical bodies. They are not, however, signs of disease. They are not the same as the profound and progressive memory loss that characterizes dementia, such as Alzheimer's disease. The surprising truth that busts this myth is a beautiful scientific concept called neuroplasticity. For a long time, it was believed that the adult brain was a static, fixed organ. We now know that this is completely false. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable, lifelong ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. In simple terms, your brain can continue to learn, adapt, and change throughout your entire life. Your mind is not a fragile teacup waiting to be shattered. It is more like a muscle that can be strengthened. So, how do we exercise this mental muscle? We do it by embracing novelty and challenge. The motto for a healthy brain is, learn it or lose it. Engaging in activities that are new and mentally demanding is like a workout for your brain. It forces your brain to create new pathways and connections, building what scientists call cognitive reserve. Cognitive reserve is like a backup system in your brain. A person with a high cognitive reserve may be able to withstand more age-related changes in their brain before showing any signs of cognitive impairment. So, what does this look like in practice? It means stepping out of your routine. Learn a new language. Pick up that musical instrument you've always wanted to play. Take a course at a local college or online about a subject you're curious about, whether it's ancient history or astronomy. Join a book club that challenges you to read and discuss new ideas. Even doing crossword puzzles, Sudoku, or playing strategic games like chess or bridge contributes to this cognitive workout. But the workout isn't just about formal learning. Social engagement is one of the most powerful brain exercises we have. A lively conversation is an incredibly complex cognitive task. It requires you to listen, to process information, to access your own memories and vocabulary, to read social cues, and to formulate a response, all in real time. Maintaining strong social connections and engaging in regular conversation is a vital part of keeping your mind sharp. And we cannot forget the profound connection between our physical health and our brain health. Regular physical exercise, particularly cardiovascular exercise like brisk walking, increases blood flow to the brain, delivering a rich supply of oxygen and nutrients. It also stimulates the release of a substance called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which has been called miracle-grow for the brain because it supports the survival of existing neurons and encourages the growth of new ones. The myth of inevitable cognitive decline is a passive narrative. The truth of neuroplasticity is an active one. It tells us that through lifelong learning, social connection, and physical activity, we can be the active architects of our own brain health, building a mind that remains vibrant, curious, and engaged for a lifetime. Our third myth moves from the internal world of our bodies and minds to the external world of our relationships and our place in society. It is the sad and isolating belief that, as we get older, we are destined to become lonely and set in our ways. This myth paints a picture of the senior years as a time of shrinking social circles, of increasing isolation, and of a rigid personality that is no longer open to new people, new ideas, or new experiences. It's a story that suggests our social lives have a peak, and that after a certain age, it's all downhill. This myth not only creates a false expectation of loneliness, but it can also prevent us from taking the very steps needed to create a rich and fulfilling social life. The truth is that while the structure of our social lives may change, our capacity for deep connection, for friendship, and for personal growth not only continues, but can actually deepen with age. Let's acknowledge the real-life changes that can challenge our social worlds as we age. Retirement can mean the loss of a daily social structure and a built-in network of colleagues. Friends may move away to be closer to their children. And sadly, we may experience the loss of friends and loved ones. These are significant life events, and they can certainly create a risk for social isolation if we are not proactive. But risk is not destiny. The truth that busts this myth is that our ability to form meaningful relationships is a lifelong skill, and the wisdom and perspective we gain with age can actually make us better friends and partners. The focus in our later years often shifts from the quantity of our social connections to the quality. We may have less patience for superficial relationships, but our desire for genuine, authentic connection remains strong. The key is to be intentional and proactive. We must become the creators of our own community. This means actively seeking out opportunities to connect with like-minded people. This could be through joining a club focused on a hobby you love, whether it's gardening, birdwatching, or playing cards. It could be through volunteering for a cause you are passionate about, which is a wonderful way to meet people who share your values. Senior centers, community centers, and places of worship offer a huge variety of classes and social groups. Taking a class, as we mentioned for brain health, is also a fantastic way to meet new people in a structured, low-pressure environment. We must nurture the connections we already have, making a conscious effort to schedule regular calls or visits with family and old friends. And we must remain open to the possibility of new friendships, even in unexpected places. Now, what about the idea of being set in our ways? This is a stereotype that profoundly underestimates the human capacity for growth. The truth is, the later years can be a period of incredible personal development. With the responsibilities of career and raising a family often in the rearview mirror, we may have more time and freedom than ever before to explore new interests, to reflect on our lives, and to evolve as individuals. This is often a time when our emotional intelligence is at its peak. We have a lifetime of experience to draw upon, which can make us more empathetic, more patient, and more understanding. We may become more curious, more open to different perspectives, and less concerned with the judgment of others. The myth suggests we are becoming a more rigid, closed version of ourselves. The reality is that this can be a time of becoming the most authentic and open version of ourselves we have ever been. Loneliness is not a necessary companion to old age. It is a signal, a form of thirst, telling us that we need to reach out and connect. By embracing curiosity and being willing to step into new social arenas, we can create a life that is rich with connection, meaning, and the joy of shared experience. Our fourth myth directly tackles our sense of value and contribution. It is the deeply invalidating belief that, after retirement, seniors are no longer productive members of society. This myth is a toxic byproduct of a culture that often defines a person's worth by their job title and their income. When the career ends, this myth suggests, so does a person's ability to contribute in a meaningful way. It paints a picture of retirement as a time of passive leisure at best, and of irrelevant obsolescence at worst. This can lead to a profound crisis of identity and a loss of purpose for many older adults. It is a cruel and narrow-minded view of what it means to be human. The surprising truth is that the senior years can be some of the most productive and contributive years of a person's life, but we must first radically redefine our understanding of the word productivity. If we define productivity solely as paid employment, then yes, many seniors are less productive in that specific sense. But this is a tragically impoverished definition. True productivity is about creating value, about making a positive impact on the lives of others and the world around you. And in this sense, seniors are a powerhouse of productivity. Let's look at the evidence. The single largest group of volunteers in many nations are people over the age of 60. Seniors are the lifeblood of countless charities, hospitals, schools, libraries, and community organizations, donating millions of hours of their time, skills, and wisdom. This is not just keeping busy. This is vital, society-sustaining work. Consider the role of mentorship. A lifetime of professional and personal experience is an incredibly valuable asset. Seniors who mentor younger people, either formally or informally, are passing down knowledge, providing guidance, and shaping the next generation. This is a form of productivity with a ripple effect that can last for decades. And let's not forget one of the most important and often undervalued roles in our society: grandparenting. The emotional, practical, and financial support that grandparents provide to their children and grandchildren is immense. They are caregivers, teachers, storytellers, and the keepers of family history. The value created by this role is simply immeasurable. Furthermore, the post-career years are often a time of incredible creative productivity. For many, it's the first time in their lives they have the freedom to pursue a creative passion. We see seniors writing memoirs, taking up painting, learning to make pottery, joining a choir, or cultivating magnificent gardens. This creation of art, of beauty, of food, is a deeply productive and soul-enriching act. For some, productivity may even mean a second-act career, starting a small business or doing part-time consulting work based on passion rather than necessity. The myth of unproductivity is a lie born from a narrow, materialistic worldview. The truth is that purpose is not found in a paycheck. It is found in connection, in contribution, and in creation. The senior years are not an epilogue to a productive life. They are a brand new chapter, with a different and often deeper definition of what it means to make a difference. Our fifth and final myth is, in many ways, the master myth. It is the underlying belief that enables all the other myths to take root in our minds. It is the old, tired saying that, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is the myth of personal stagnation. It is the belief that our personality, our habits, our abilities, and our capacity for change are all locked in place by a certain age. It is the voice that whispers, "It's too late for me to learn that," or "I'm just not that kind of person," or "I've always been this way." If you believe this myth, you won't try that exercise class, you won't sign up for that art course, you won't reach out to that new social group, because you will have already decided that you are incapable of change. This is the most insidious myth of all, because it is a cage that we build for ourselves. The truth that shatters this cage is the beautiful and liberating reality that human beings have a lifelong capacity for learning, growth, and transformation. We have already discussed the scientific basis for this: neuroplasticity. Your brain is not set in stone. It is a dynamic, living organ that is constantly adapting based on your experiences. Every time you try something new, Every time you step outside of your comfort zone, you are physically re-sculpting your own brain. The old dog can, in fact, learn new tricks, and the process of learning those tricks is what keeps the dog, and the human, young in spirit. The barriers to learning and changing in our later years are rarely cognitive. They are almost always psychological. The biggest barriers are a fear of failure, a fear of looking foolish, and the accumulated weight of a lifetime of self-limiting beliefs. The hack to busting this myth is to cultivate a beginner's mind. This is a concept from Zen Buddhism that encourages us to approach things with the same curiosity, openness, and lack of preconceptions as a small child. It means being willing to be bad at something at first. It means finding joy in the process of learning itself, rather than being solely focused on the outcome. So you want to learn to play the guitar? You will hit wrong notes. That is part of the process. So you want to learn to use a computer? You will click the wrong button. That is part of the process. Giving yourself permission to be an imperfect beginner is the key that unlocks the door to lifelong growth. Think of the immense benefits. Learning a new skill builds confidence like nothing else. It shows you, in a tangible way, that you are still a capable, growing individual. Stepping outside of your comfort zone builds resilience. It makes you more adaptable and better able to handle the inevitable challenges that life throws your way. And most importantly, it keeps the world interesting. It fills your life with a sense of adventure and discovery. The truth is, your personal evolution does not have a finish line. The person you are today does not have to be the person you are tomorrow. By embracing curiosity and being brave enough to try something new, you prove this final, most damaging myth wrong every single day. As we bring our journey to a close, let's look back at the shadows we have illuminated. We have busted the myth of inevitable physical frailty and replaced it with the truth of strength through movement. We have busted the myth of inevitable cognitive decline and replaced it with the hopeful reality of a plastic, adaptable brain. We have busted the myth of loneliness and replaced it with the truth of intentional community and deep connection. We have busted the myth of unproductivity and replaced it with a new, richer definition of purpose and contribution. And we have busted the master myth that we cannot change and replaced it with the liberating truth of lifelong learning and growth. The stories we tell ourselves about aging matter more than anything else. They become the reality we inhabit. I invite you to consciously let go of the old, fearful narrative of decline, and to actively embrace this new, evidence-based narrative of possibility. Aging is not a problem to be solved. It is a life stage to be lived. It is a time that holds the unique and beautiful potential for wisdom, for perspective, for authenticity, and for a deep and abiding sense of peace. You are the author of your own life story. My deepest wish is that you will choose to write a story for these coming years that is filled with strength, with curiosity, with connection, with purpose, and with the boundless joy of a life fully and vibrantly lived. Thank you for sharing this important time with me today. Be well, and be empowered by the truth.